Let me show you the poll results. I think we went to those. Yeah, there we go. Cocky winds up with 7%, skeptical at 6%, but 87% of you are somewhere between hopeful and confident, and more than half of you are confident. So everything's feeling good. Everything's feeling good. I think that probably signing the number one player in the country yesterday boosted that a tad, but everything feeling right now in Big Orange Country. The Vols are in the playoff, but it's a tough path, according to J.D. Pickle from On3. If we can get the graphic, I think we have his bracket lined up and we can show you that. But there you go. He has Tennessee getting in as the 5th team from the SEC. He has them in as the 11th seed, but they would be getting in behind Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Alabama is the 10th seed, Tennessee the 11th seed. But here's the thing that stood out, is that path. If Tennessee got in there, they would have to go win at Ohio State. Then they would have to go beat Miami at a bowl site. Then they would have to go beat Oregon at a bowl site. And then they would have to go beat Georgia, wherever the championship game is this year, that they bid that thing out. It's not it could be a bowl site, but that's a tough ask. Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, Georgia. Everyone right now is talking about the fact, and when the playoff came around, you had so many people, this opens it up. 12 teams now get a shot at it. It's going to be easier to win a national title this way. When you look at what you have to do to win it, and let's say you're seeded, you're not having to do one of the road games to start or something. You still got 3 of those. You would still have to go through Miami, Oregon, and Georgia, for example, or Texas and Georgia or whatever. Is this going to be an easier way to win a national championship with the playoff system, or is it going to actually be a harder way to win a national championship?
Josh, you get a seat at the table, but the players that you have to go through make obtaining a championship a touch more difficult. No, you're spot on. This is very, very difficult. To the graphic you just put up, let's just break it down based on quarterback play. For you to win a national championship, if that was to come to fruition, you would have to go through Will Howard, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, who right now is your odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, and some guy named Carson Beck. No. I wouldn't say it's substantially harder, but I would say based on what we're used to seeing in 4 teams, add 12, there's just more variables. So, of course, more difficulty.
Yeah, Tennessee's toughest regular season stretch, in my opinion, is at Arkansas, Florida at home, Bama at home. The playoff stretch is a little bit tougher.
Steroids.
Yeah. So to your question, technically it's easier because if you're the 11 seed in a 4-team playoff, then you don't even get in, you don't get a chance.
Sure.
But easy is not the word to be using here if you're trying to be in that position, 11 seed to 10 seed. When I looked at that, my initial thought was that really is going to back up the conversation in mid-October through November of seeding and playoff positioning is going to be really important because you have a chance, and if Tennessee's offense is as good as it's capable of, then we're going to talk about them having a chance. But going to Columbus and then having to beat legitimate playoff teams on neutral sites is a big ask.
That was what I noticed first.
Straight weeks.
Going to the shoe.
And that's just using Tennessee and this as an example. I think that's the same for everyone. I mean, you look at it, look at Michigan last year. Their schedule was not tough. They marched through their conference. They won their conference title game. Then they only had to win 2 games in the playoffs. Okay. So you played, 4 good games all last year? 4?
Fair.
Ohio State, and then your conference championship game, and then 2 playoff games.
I would argue
you get
the
4
Iowa
in the
game.
playoff. Okay, you get 4 in the playoffs here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just it used to be in the old system you could still maybe sneak in. I guess like I would say Michigan in this deal would have a much harder. And that's the best team in the country. I'm not knocking Michigan. I'm just saying you would have to see a lot more from Michigan in this system than you even saw last year when they won it. Because for them to go through another game on top of that, well, you would have played more tough games in your playoff than you would have in your regular season.
Very fair. To that point, whether it was Penn State,
Michigan,
I get what you're saying.
You know
Comparable, yes. You like the fact that you get the opportunity because you're there. Yeah. You're at the table. You're having dinner. But to say that you have to then, as you put it, neutral site, home games, that to me, and then as frequently, nobody's really looked at, if you have or you haven't, look at the schedule this year, too, of how closely they're putting those games together.
Yeah.
It's not just like, cool, we just beat Ohio State at the shoe. Now we get 14 days to get ready for Miami in a neutral set. No. Next week, let's go. Next week, let's go.
And it's different from the NFL as well because so many of those NFL teams, it's not like night and day from offense to offense. They are all kind of similar. Whereas There's a big difference between what Michigan runs and what Tennessee runs.
100%,
And if you
yep.
play Michigan one week and Tennessee the next, that's not going to be an easy transition if you've got 8 days between games to figure it out.
I think there are a lot of fans that are excited right now and will be excited if their team gets into the playoff, and then we'll do a lot of complaining once they get in the playoff with what the draw might ultimately be.
Yeah, I think whoever wins is going to be doing some serious work. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the defense versus the offense. I read again this week. I keep reading this. If Tennessee is going to make the playoff, they're going to have to fix that defense. Fix that defense. Was the defense the problem last year? Let's come back and debate that next. Come on back on the Sports Wire.